Somewhere there, between our gaze and the bottom of my bottle, I had fallen completely unconscious in that English port town of disrepute, and awoken somewhere completely different. Whomever had enterprise to carry my unconscious form, all 230 pounds of it had stripped me of my clothes and dressed me in a pink satin robe expensive. By the looks of the quintessentially Parisian tuile, they had also carried me several stories up to this attic loft, into a small bed coincé by the slant of wooden beamed roof. It was an impressive trick and quite vulnerable making. One time I was shanghaied of sorts into a tonneau and thrown out to sea, but gravity did half the work there. I felt strange moistness and unfamiliar fabric on my bare skin, and upon closer inspection realized that whomever had transported me to this new location had also stitched me up and patched me in the half a dozen places or more on my person that I had neglected to attend to these past few weeks, maybe months, hell, let's say years. The patches smelled of herbs, maybe mint and camphor. The apartment also had a fragrance, rose, lavender. I noticed a few little pots of them scattered on the windowsill. Across from me, a low-legged little piano had dried flowers on it. The skull of a rabbit odd knickknacks like a child would collect. Not a formidable and terrifying force that could humble me and humiliate me by tending to my wounds and then slipping me into a pink robe like some newborn babe. I was not surprised when she entered, dressed more middle class than I expected, looking like a Parisian lady coming from the market. But she was surprised to see me, it would seem by her expression. She had anticipated that I would still be out for a little while, no doubt drugged on top of the incredible stupor she had found me in. And perhaps coming face to face with me at last, I do have a gaze that some could fairly describe as menacing. She was caught off guard. There is something primal and primordial when two vampires catch each other's essence, and in the ensuing moments that are etched in my memory like the kindest kind of agony, we stood at a knife's edge whether either one of us would come out of it alive. But of course, that was only her supposition, based, I'm sure, on my reputation. She had brought me here for a reason, and I recognized her power the first time I lay eyes on her. It was part of the plan to subdue the monster, recruit the devil for her escapade into the flames. What she couldn't tell is that my expression was not one of defensiveness, and if it was fear, as well it could have been read. It was simply a fear of the unfamiliar, a nascent directional push and pull, perhaps, to be seen as something else entirely, to be challenged for that tiny part of me that somehow deep down thirsted for something I did not know. I know only in that moment I was enjoying each possible outcome. The one she would slit my throat, a death most welcome at this time, too beautiful not to indulge in fantasy. The other, I would continue to sit in her presence, and more and more and more. I do not remember how it resolved, but somehow it did, like the final bit of sand from an hourglass. We exchanged few words that first day or the next, but any time she sensed something new in me, while in retrospect I can see it as only my body experiencing a newfound softness, I could telepathically hear her warning, "I will kill you." Words I do miss so very much. Quite the romantic beginning, yes. Only she had me stay in that apartment alone most of the time, as I was forbidden to leave until my, let's say, recovery, to use a modern term, was finished. She was a busy bee those days, buzzing from one covert meeting to another very public event, living in God knows how many well-placed and sumptuous apartments. This little attic, pied-à-terre, was something special, however, a place for her to be herself, to play the piano, to store little personal knickknacks. This was her genius. She captured a monster and took the greatest gamble by introducing it to her most vulnerable self. It was infused in every part of that attic apartment. Like so many dozen collection of herbs and flowers, the femininity was incalculably disarming, even for a dastardly, toxic man, if I can call myself that, such as I was. It is somewhat difficult to recall these details. It's raining now, so I think I will take a long walk and see if I can get a good shiver going. All right, her neck. Well, that will be for some other time. There's plenty to go over, and I have nothing but time in disgusting abundance.